Simon Cowell's unexpected tears. In a career spanning decades, Simon Cowell has built his reputation as one of television's toughest, most unflinching judges. Known for his sharp critiques, blunt honesty, and at times icy demeanor, he rarely lets emotion show on camera. But during one unforgettable live broadcast of American Idol, viewers witnessed something that seemed almost impossible: Simon Cowell, visibly shaken, wiping tears from his eyes. The moment wasn't staged, nor was it part of a scripted segment. It came in response to a performance that stunned the studio and silenced even the most skeptical audience members. At the center of it all was Jamal Roberts, a Mississippi native whose voice had already begun to stir buzz online. What unfolded that night didn't just move Simon to tears, it created a ripple effect that would dominate headlines, ignite social media debates, and force millions to reconsider the man often seen as television's harshest critic. And as powerful as that night was, it was only the beginning of a story filled with twists, confirmations, and revelations that no one saw coming. Jamal's performance that changed everything. The performance that broke Simon Cowell's composure was Jamal Roberts' haunting rendition of "Heal" by Tom Odell, a song already known for its raw emotional weight. But Jamal did something few contestants have ever dared. He reshaped the piece, adding an original verse that spoke directly to his own struggles and the perseverance that defined his journey. Standing alone under the spotlight, his voice carried a fragility that quickly swelled into power, drawing the audience into a moment that felt less like a competition performance and more like a confession. The silence in the room was palpable. Even the cameras seemed hesitant to cut away, as though they might disrupt the spell Jamal had cast. When he finished, the crowd erupted, some audience members visibly in tears. But the most shocking reaction came from the judges' panel. Simon Cowell, the man whose critiques could slice through the confidence of any performer, lowered his head and wiped at his eyes, unable to mask what he was feeling. It was a moment that spread like wildfire online, with fans posting clips under captions like "Simon has a heart" and "This is history." That night marked a turning point not only for Jamal but for the entire season, as viewers realized they were watching something far bigger than another Idol performance. And yet, as the cheers faded, questions began to surface. What was it about Jamal's story that could move one of television's toughest figures to tears? The story behind Jamal's song choice. For millions watching at home, Jamal Roberts' rendition of "Heal" felt like an anthem, but behind his decision to perform it lay a deeply personal story. Before stepping onto the Idol stage, Jamal wasn't living the glamorous life many assume of rising stars. He was a physical education teacher in Mississippi, working tirelessly to provide for his 3 young daughters. Music was his refuge, a space where he could release the weight of daily struggles and unspoken battles. When he chose "Heal," he wasn't simply picking a song to impress judges, he was reaching for something that mirrored his life: the scars of rejection, the weight of responsibility, and the stubborn hope that better days were ahead. By writing and performing his own third verse, Jamal turned a well-known ballad into a testimony, embedding his lived experiences into every line. He later admitted in interviews that he wanted people to understand he wasn't just singing, he was telling the story of a man who had been knocked down but refused to stay there. This revelation reframed the performance for fans, who began connecting his lyrics with his personal journey. It also explained why Simon Cowell, a man notorious for dismissing sob stories, couldn't hold back his tears. He wasn't just listening to another contestant, he was confronted with raw authenticity, the kind that cuts through television polish and strikes straight at the heart. But as the nation embraced Jamal's vulnerability, another storm was quietly brewing, rumors of behind-the-scenes tensions that threatened to overshadow his triumphs. Rumors and backstage tensions. As Jamal Roberts' star power grew, whispers backstage began to circulate, sparking debates that spilled quickly into the public eye. The spotlight that once focused purely on his talent now turned toward his interactions with the judges, particularly Carrie Underwood. Sharp-eyed viewers noticed moments where Carrie seemed distant, often refraining from giving him the same enthusiastic applause she showered on other contestants. Clips of her subtle expressions and body language were replayed endlessly online, dissected by fans who claimed she was less than supportive. Hashtags like #StandUpForJamal and #ColdCarrie began trending, fueling theories of a simmering tension on set. While producers never addressed the speculation directly, media outlets ran with the story, suggesting that Jamal's rapid rise had unsettled parts of the Idol machine. Inside sources hinted that disagreements about his song choices and unique performance style created friction, with some insiders worried his bold individuality might overshadow the show's tightly controlled format. For Jamal, the rumors were a double-edged sword. They painted him as an outsider challenging the system, which only strengthened his bond with fans, but they also cast a shadow over his achievements. The tension reached such a fever pitch that fans demanded answers. Was the friction real, or just another case of social media exaggeration? Jamal himself stayed quiet during the competition, letting his music speak louder than the noise, but the question lingered: would he eventually break his silence and reveal the truth behind the rumors? The emotional confirmation that shocked fans. When the season ended and Jamal Roberts stood victorious as America's newest idol, he finally addressed the whispers that had followed him for weeks. In a post-win interview, his words confirmed what many fans had long suspected: there had indeed been moments of tension with Carrie Underwood during the competition. Jamal explained with careful honesty that while he held deep respect for Carrie's success, her feedback at times felt more discouraging than constructive. He stopped short of painting her as antagonistic, but admitted the energy between them was far from warm. This revelation spread like wildfire. Headlines blared that Jamal had confirmed the feud, while social media users debated whether Carrie had been unfair or simply holding him to a higher standard. What stunned fans most was not just his admission, but the way he framed it. Rather than bitterness, Jamal spoke with gratitude, saying the challenges only fueled his determination to push harder, sing deeper, and prove his worth. The humility in his voice struck a chord, reinforcing the very image that had endeared him to millions: a man who could rise above obstacles without losing his grace. Simon Cowell himself later remarked that Jamal's honesty was what set him apart, calling him a rare talent who isn't afraid to tell the truth. But with confirmation came consequences. The revelation reignited debates about favoritism and fairness within the idol machine, sparking questions about whether Jamal's journey had been as smooth behind the curtain as it appeared. Fallout and public reactions. The fallout from Jamal Roberts' candid confirmation was immediate and impossible to ignore. Social media platforms erupted with divided opinions. Some fans accused Carrie Underwood of being dismissive, while others defended her as simply maintaining the high standards expected of an idol judge. Twitter threads dissected every second of her expressions. YouTube creators uploaded breakdowns of her critiques, and fan pages lit up with hashtags both defending and criticizing Carrie. Meanwhile, Jamal's supporters grew louder, praising him for speaking his truth with dignity and calling him a role model for resilience in the face of subtle resistance. Entertainment outlets wasted no time amplifying the drama, with headlines framing the story as a behind-the-scenes clash that nearly overshadowed the finale. Yet, rather than being crushed under the weight of controversy, Jamal's reputation only seemed to strengthen. His victory became symbolic, not just of talent overcoming competition, but of authenticity triumphing over industry politics. Fellow contestants, though careful with their words, hinted at the pressure Jamal had faced, with one describing him as the one who never cracked under the glare. Simon Cowell's emotional reaction that night was replayed again and again, framed as proof that even the toughest critic couldn't deny Jamal's impact. But amid the celebration and storm of opinions, one question remained unsettled. Would Jamal be able to carry this momentum forward, or would the controversy cast a shadow over the promising career he was just beginning to build? The next chapter: opportunities and risks ahead. With his idol journey behind him, Jamal Roberts now faces the critical moment every winner encounters, turning televised success into a lasting career. On the one hand, doors have opened wide. His debut single, Mississippi, quickly gained traction, praised for its authenticity and heartfelt lyrics that echo his roots. Industry insiders hint at offers from major labels eager to shape him into a crossover artist who could thrive in both country and pop markets. Yet, history paints a cautionary tale. Many idol champions have struggled to maintain relevance once the confetti stopped falling. The challenge for Jamal will be to seize the momentum while navigating the pitfalls of sudden fame. Beyond the professional risks, his personal life adds another layer of complexity. As a devoted father of 3, he carries the added weight of ensuring his daughters are shielded from the glare of media scrutiny while their father steps into the global spotlight. Then there's the lingering shadow of the Carrie Underwood controversy. While it amplified his visibility, it could also close certain doors in an industry where alliances matter. Supporters believe his resilience and humility will serve as his compass, but critics warn that sincerity alone may not be enough in a business as unforgiving as music. For Jamal, the next chapter is unwritten, filled with both opportunity and uncertainty. The only certainty is that every step he takes will be scrutinized, praised, or questioned by millions who now see him as more than just a singer. They see him as a symbol of perseverance. Simon Cowell's lasting words and legacy impact. Even weeks after the finale, one image still circulates more than any other: Simon Cowell, visibly emotional, wiping tears as Jamal Roberts finished his performance. For a man who built his legacy on blunt critiques and unshakable composure, that moment was nothing short of historic. Simon later addressed the incident in an interview, admitting that Jamal's authenticity and vulnerability cut straight through the noise, reminding him of why he fell in love with discovering raw talent in the first place. Coming from Cowell, such words carried enormous weight. It wasn't just praise, it was validation that Jamal's artistry had reached beyond competition and touched something universal. Fans interpreted Simon's reaction as symbolic, proof that Jamal had shattered the armor of the industry's toughest judge and forced even him to feel. For Jamal, that tearful moment became a badge of honor, cementing his performances as more than just entertainment. They were transformative experiences. Industry observers noted that Cowell's endorsement could be pivotal for Jamal's credibility as he steps into a notoriously cutthroat business. Yet the tears also sparked broader conversations about vulnerability in music, challenging the expectation that toughness and perfection are the only currencies of success. In many ways, Simon's reaction may come to define Jamal's Idol season more than the trophy itself, a legacy that positions him not just as a winner, but as a cultural disruptor who reminded the world that even the harshest critics can be moved by the truth of a song. Fanbase loyalty and cultural impact. What sets Jamal Roberts apart from many past Idol winners is not only his voice, but the fiercely loyal fanbase that has risen around him. From small-town supporters in Mississippi to international viewers who discovered him through viral clips, Jamal has become more than a singer. He's a symbol of resilience. Fans see in him a reflection of their own struggles, someone who faced rejection twice on Idol yet returned to claim the crown on his third attempt. That narrative of persistence resonates far beyond music, inspiring countless social media posts, TikTok edits, and heartfelt messages on Instagram. The cultural impact is undeniable. Jamal's performances are replayed in classrooms, churches, and even community events where people draw strength from his journey. In an era where reality show winners often fade quickly, Jamal's story carries a weight that feels different. He isn't seen as manufactured by the Idol machine, but rather as someone who broke through it, rewriting the expectations of what a winner could represent. Fans proudly brand themselves as part of Team Jamal, treating his victory as their own. And this loyalty is powerful. It not only drives streaming numbers for his debut single, but also ensures that wherever his career leads, a passionate community will follow. Still, with fame comes responsibility. Jamal now faces the challenge of nurturing that trust while navigating an industry eager to mold him into something more marketable. The question is whether he can hold on to the authenticity that made fans love him in the first place. The unfinished story and final reflections. Jamal Roberts' journey may have reached its first climax with his victory on American Idol, but in truth, his story is far from over. What began as the tale of a small-town teacher chasing a dream has evolved into something much larger, a cultural moment that challenged perceptions of the show itself and even softened the famously unshakable Simon Cowell. His tears, Jamal's confirmation of backstage tensions, and the passionate response from fans all combine into a narrative that feels less like a TV competition and more like a movement. Yet this unfinished story holds as many questions as it does triumphs. Can Jamal maintain the authenticity that propelled him to the top, or will industry pressures chip away at the very qualities that made him special? Will his honesty about friction within Idol lead to greater transparency in the future, or will it mark him as an outsider in an industry built on careful image management? And most importantly, can he transform his moment of glory into a sustainable career that secures his place among the greats, or will history repeat itself as another Idol champion fades from memory? These unanswered questions ensure that Jamal's journey continues to command attention, his name now tied to one of the most emotional and unforgettable moments in the show's long history. For now, all we know is this: Jamal Roberts not only made Simon Cowell cry, he made the world believe in him. And whatever comes next, millions will be watching.